so that they would have an opportunity to do a variety of uses that are not currently allowed. Everything from residential to hotel, and then there was some restrictions on setbacks and building heights and green space and parking requirements and things like that that we just, took a hard look at. We had an attorney review and just give us feedback on what might be in the way if we wanted to redevelop the property or part of the property into some different uses, what part of that zoning wouldn't fit. So all that being said, the attorney sent all that information in to the Marlboro folks, and their urban planning board had a meeting the day before last, and they pretty much incorporated all of our recommendations and changes into the final draft of the rezoning proposal. So that will go to the next planning board meeting in July, and hopefully will get approved. And that will, at least from our standpoint, secure the changes in zoning that we would like to see on the entire property, but at least secure the Marlboro side at this point. So the unfortunate part of this whole process or going forward is being in the receivership condition that we're currently in. There's not a lot of dollars available for whatever studies or whatever expenses might be involved in trying to get these zoning changes in front of Berlin. It's a town meeting, it's a whole different animal as far as the process and probably the requirements that will be needed to have all these zoning changes adopted on the Berlin side. So we probably will not be making a play for those changes this year. They're likely going to, quite honestly, be marketing the center for sale in the next 6 months. So I think their focus is going to be shifted to that, and they're probably not going to want to, in fact, I know they're not going to want to expend dollars to try to push these zoning changes through on the Berlin side. I think their hope is that once Marlboros are finally approved, that whoever comes in and purchases the property will take the lead in getting the same set of zoning changes completed on the Berlin side. So that's kind of where we're sitting today as far as the zoning changes. Was there something else, Peter, that we talked about?
Share with us the tenant that butts up against Sears on the ground floor with that. What you told me about that?
The what that butts up
The
against?
tenant that is not open yet, that butts up against Sears on the ground floor.
Oh, the tenant, yes. So Hey Kiddos is an indoor play place. They're currently under construction. Their projected opening was supposed to be April. Now they're looking at July. They've run into some issues along the way, primarily through fault of their own, if you want my opinion. But they're now.
It's a lot of square feet, right? How many feet is it?
It is 23,000 square feet, lower level where Tilt used to be. And if you want to really go back, the bottom half of Linens and things. So they're looking at a July opening. We're going to probably doing some work for them in the parking lot, paving, cleaning up the area directly in front of what would be their exterior entrance in the back of the mall, just to provide them with a better, safer, cleaner parking field for their customers. We're hoping that revitalizes that end of the mall and starts driving customers back down towards the Sears end of the mall, at least the kids and the families. And we do have a couple other retailers we're talking to for spaces down in that area that we are interested in them because of Hey Kiddos opening. So that is on the radar for before the summer, hopefully by July 15th, which is the new target date. So
How's the vacancy rate?
not great. You may or may not have heard that Express filed for bankruptcy, and so they're closing this location at the end of July. So that's a big space, that we're losing.
How many
Um,
feet is that?
It is, I think, somewhere in the ballpark of 9,000 square feet, 8,000 square feet. I don't have a lease plan in front of me, and that one I don't know off the top of my head.
It's not
Uh,
small.
It's not small. We do have another tenant in the mall that's moving in there as soon as, they're relocating from their current space. Suit Men, if you're familiar, is gonna move down there. They're gonna add women's merchandise, and they're gonna take over that space for us. But that just leaves us another vacancy, smaller vacancy, on the other end.
There's some good news with Apple or better
Yeah,
news?
so
with Apple?
Apple, we do have an executed renewal with them, for another, I think it's a 3-year deal. I think it goes till 2028. So that's good news. Very good news, because there was some hesitation, not on their part, but we were a little concerned that they might balk, but they didn't, and the agreement's executed, so we're good to go there.
Any news with
we're-
Sears? I'm sorry, go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, I was gonna say, no word on Macy's. That might be somebody might be wondering about that. We were told they weren't gonna close this year. So that's, hopefully the truth. But they are closing lots of stores in the next 3 years, so this one's probably gonna be on the chopping block, I would think. In the next few years. I can't imagine that it wouldn't be.
Hmm.
Yeah, that,
Anything with Sears?
not, I have heard very little from them. There was some activity, a little flurry of activity for a little while out there. I think they have a new broker. I want to say it's Cushman and Wakefield that's now listing it, but I could be wrong. Could be CBRE. I'm pretty sure it's Cushman and Wakefield. So they've repackaged it, and they're shopping it, but I haven't heard anything from them that they've really had any realistic and considerable nibbles on it, unfortunately. But it's,
Jason, Jeff, Paul, anyone have any
No, that's a great update.
questions or thoughts? Yeah.
I know IKEA is shopping for storefront somewhere out in this area, not necessarily this area, but they were looking at a space in Natick.
okay,
Like that Sears would be big enough for like an IKEA.
right, yeah, it would be,
Uh,
I would think. Yep. All right, I'll make a note of that. I mean, who knows? I can at least hand them over to Sears and see,
Yeah,
and who knows what our guys can assemble. If we have enough vacancy inside the mall, maybe they would even consider something like that. So
sure.
Jason, what entity were you talking about?
IKEA.
Oh, IKEA, that's enormous.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah. They were actually looking at our footprint at Natick.
Hmm.
And they were serious about coming up this way somewhere, because the closest one is like what, an hour and a half away, whatever,
Yeah.
down south
Yeah.
of Braintree.
yeah,
So, and I mean, when you think about a retailer for a mall, they're definitely a draw. So,
yes, absolutely.
Well, it certainly would be a home run for Solomon Pond.
Yeah, it absolutely
Yeah.
would be game
How
changer.
many feet do you figure that is, Jason? It's gotta be a couple 100,000?
the Sears.
No, IKEA.
Oh, I mean I mean they can go. I mean they can go up to 200,000 square feet. I mean, there was one in Virginia that I don't know what the square footage was, but it made like our Wegmans look tiny. So,
Hmm.
but I know they have smaller footprints too. So I would assume they would want at least 100.
Yeah, that would be a game changer for Solomon Pond.
It absolutely
Yeah.
would be.
Well, Jason tried. How's that?
It's an idea. I don't know.
All right.
Good luck.
Anything else? Go ahead, Jason.
No, I just said good luck. I know it's not easy.
So anything else for Liz, or can we let Liz go? Liz, thank you. Stay on with us if you like, and if
I just
not,
had one quick. Which Wednesday of the month is the thing?
I think it's the third Wednesday, because we wanted to stay away from the 4th of July holiday.
Hmm.
So I don't think it's the Wednesday after. I think it's the one after that, the 17th is ringing a bell, but I don't have a calendar in front of me.
Yeah,
I
that
can-
that would be the third Wednesday is the 17th.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. But I'll,
And then again,
confirm.
the 21st of August, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
all right. Well, thanks for joining us, Liz. Good luck.
All right,
Let
thank
us know if
you.
we can help.
Thanks for having me.
Of
Yep.
course, of course.
Bye.
Bye. Jeff and Brian, the floor is yours.
I don't have a ton of introduction, but I reached out to Brian as the Economic Development Committee from Lancaster, just to, see if he would join us for a meeting and see if there might be any overlap or anything that comes up that might be worth talking about.
Brian, is your committee a volunteer committee as well?
Yes, just a note though, that we had an economic development committee. It was moribund or deactive for a couple of years. So I've been the planning director in Lancaster since just last October. But the good news is that an economic development committee has been reappointed. It will not be active until July 1st. So, we have appointed, I think there are 4 members that have been appointed, but they'll need to meet and select a chair, and so on and so forth. I guess what, and I was interested in when I heard from Jeff yesterday that, sure, I mean, Lancaster is in a position where, as some of you are probably familiar with Lancaster, we're very much of a residential community. We do have some business areas. We are doing some industrial type development in North Lancaster up on the Lunenburg line. We have a large subdivision that's going to be commercial. We're opening, of course, like everyone else, we're doing some warehouses. They're going to be coming online in a year or so, maybe a little more. But we are also interested in, and of course, everyone knows about the Atlantic Union College in the middle of our downtown. We are always looking for ways to somehow get that redeveloped or repurposed. We have a lot of state property in Lancaster. One in particular is the old industrial school for girls. Going back, I don't know when it had a few different lives, but that is owned by the state, and Lancaster is in a conversation with them to perhaps be able to acquire that property, and that it will be a big win for us economically. So we are exploring some concepts there that would involve a type of village or mixed use, residential and commercial down there. We just completed our comprehensive plan, and as again many of you know, as soon as you cross the bridge under the railroad bridge from Clinton into Lancaster, we have very a small number of enterprises, 2 diners, a bank, a few other things. But I'm, as planning director, I'm very interested in the idea of zoning for economic development, rezoning for economic development, form-based, plans, form-based zoning and other type tools. So these are, on the horizon, some close horizons, some more distant horizons. But so between that and the SEDS, our regional planning agency, we're in the Montechusett Regional Planning Agency. They're just starting a new SEDS process. We didn't figure much in the previous one, so hopefully we will be able to have a stronger presence in this upcoming one. So that's about it from Lancaster's point of view. We are a small town and we don't have a lot going on, but we have some plans and we have some thoughts and we have concepts. And so anything where we could dovetail, we're looking at North Main Street and going into Leominster, we have some property or presence on that Jungle Road where the Walmart is down there. But so we're looking, so I was interested in the invitation from Jeff to come on board and see what other economic development committees are doing and how our economic development committee could develop along the same lines. Could I ask, so how is your committee has been ongoing for how many years?
5 years, Paul?
That sounds right. It's at least 5. I guess I can see when my minutes started. I'll do that real quick.
Yeah. And I suppose I'd be interested in passing on, because I will be the staff person for the Economic Development Committee once it gets going next month. I could pass along some of the ideas and some of the initiatives. It sounds like a lot of what you're doing is involved in Solomon Pond Mall in that area. I could have a website where you have past accomplishments or initiatives or plans. Are there any documents that you created that we could look at?
You can go into the minutes at mytowngovernment.com/Berlin, and you can see our attachments and our minutes. We don't have a robust website. It's the town website with a couple of paragraphs about our mission. I think that's about it.
Who's your regional planning agency?
CMRPC.
The Central Massachusetts, okay, and
That's the SEDS program you're referring to, right?
Right, exactly, yeah.
We've been active since the fall of 2016, Peter.
Wow, 8 years. Wow.
That's 8 years, yeah. Okay. All right, so I suppose the thing I would ask is as we get going and the Economic Development Committee is looking for path forward, I'd love to be able to get back in touch with this committee and ask a few questions, some tips on how to activate and how to move forward. Like I said, we do have some ideas that I think will generate some energy for us. But would love to be able to come back and ask you your opinions on a few things. And if there's ever an opportunity for collaboration, I'm sure we could like to reach out there as well.
Are you full-time?
Yes.
Got it. We have.
I don't understand. What's that? Can you just clarify that? What do you mean by full-time? You're employee?
Well, I mean, I'm the director of planning and community development. So I staff the planning board, the zoning board of appeals. From the planning board. So I haven't really been involved with the economic development committees because we haven't had one. But like I say, we have been working. We just completed our master plan. We're working on our housing production plan with the Affordable Housing Trust, which I also staff. So there's a lot going on there, but there just hasn't been an economic development committee since I've been there, and I don't think it's been active for a few years.
Okay.
I'm a full-time staff person, employee of the town of Lancaster, just not there specifically for economic development.
Gotcha. Your master plan, how does the community feel about commercial development versus residential? Because I think that, Peter, wouldn't you say that's one of the things that we've certainly run into historically? The master plan is pretty clear that the goal for the community is to retain its sort of agricultural, historic, residential character and not become, I'll use the neighbor of ours, Northborough, for example, which
Right.
is all sorts of development with not apparently lots of control over what's happening in the downtown commercial area, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I just to venture to say, yes, I mean, I think that is the, like I said, I'm here, I was in Methuen, I've worked in other communities. I was at the Regional Planning Agency of Massachusetts, and I think that's a a prevailing attitude or viewpoint in a lot of these communities, a lot of these smaller communities. That's why and Lancaster's no different. There are very strong voices in the master planning process at town meeting that says, we're not going to develop. We like it the way things are, but they're not looking at the realities of, we don't have much of an economic. We're relying on a residential tax base, and we've got to provide tax relief to those residents. They're amongst the highest taxed residents in the state. There's a tremendous tax burden on them.
Right.
And this is what we need to break through with this message. And again, I think the idea is no one's intended. We've relayed the idea that we created a 40R zone in North Lancaster for specifically economic development purposes to attract larger businesses. But we also need to look at in our South Lancaster area for our small businesses and small, again, and I think that's best accomplished, in my opinion, we need some zoning changes.
Right.
So that's exactly what we need in order to attract businesses, and we have all intentions of preserving our open space. We have all intentions of preserving our farms, to the extent we can. But again, it's, yes. So yes, we have the same challenge as Berlin has, as I imagine most towns do.
Right.
They look at any master plan, west of 128, and the first opening paragraph is going to be, we want to, increase our tax base while we're preserving a rural character. It's the same story all around. So yes, we're not against rural character. We are for economic development.
And we've been very lucky in that we've got the two malls, Solomon Pond and Highland Commons, on the edge of town, so they're not in the middle of the town and whatever. And so that's why Peter had Liz here, because we want to understand what anything we can do to help that mall survive, because it's important. Same with Highland Commons. So yeah.
Well, I think now I don't know because I've only been in Lancaster since October, but we a couple of the businesses that ended up going to Jungle Road or into Leominster, Lancaster had a bite at the apple. When the businesses first came in, and we lost them because of those voices, in town that don't want that kind of commercial activity. So it's again, in my position as a staff person, I'm here to serve the town, but I think I look at part of my role as education as well. These are the realities. This is what we need to do. This is what our comprehensive plan is recommending for good reason. We just need to do it responsibly and respectfully of all the divergent voices in town. And let's do this right. We're not talking about paving paradise. We're talking about expanding our economic tax base to give the residents, especially the longer term residents who've been in homes that have increased in values, and they'd never be able to afford to buy their own home if they needed to, but we got to give them some tax relief.
Right. Understood.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, Paul, I agree with you. It's a combination of commerce and protecting rural space.
Mhm.
preserving.
Yeah.
I think just like Brian said, it's everyone's goal west of 128.
Right.
And I always say, I think we're lucky. I mean, some people like the state and some people don't. I'm sure but I think the state of Massachusetts, state government has given us a lot of innovative tools to work with. CPA, Affordable Housing Trust, and, green communities. And I think there's a lot of 40R zoning. There's a lot of things that we can work with to accomplish just that, you know?
Did you adopt CPA? Did your town?
Yeah,
adopt
we did adopt CPA.
the max?
No, I think it's either 1 or 1.5%.
We did the maximum, right, Paul?
Oh, you did the 3%?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's right. I think we're at 3.
and it's been pretty beneficial already.
Yes, it
I
has.
think, that might be something we could reflect there with 3% and some of the projects, is that on your website?
The CPA is not. The
It's probably on the
CPA has
planning
not
board, right, Peter?
been-
Would it be
Pardon me?
planning board? Would it be on the planning board website as opposed to EDC?
The CPA has its own.
Yeah, wrong. Okay.
So
Yeah, again,
anyway, it's on their website.
I think it could be beneficial to land, because I think it's fairly new, and I was surprised that I was around for the first round, and there was only 2 or 3 applications, people need to understand, we fixed the windows in the library and a few other things, but I think we need to get the word out what CPA can do, in terms of open space protection, recreation, historical preservation, and affordable housing. I think it's, part of I think the Economic Development Committee is to, well, I mean, in a lot of different departments in town, get the word out, just how CPA can work for a town.
Yeah. Well, Brian, I think I'd like to ask you to stay in touch with Jeff. Jeff can relay to you our meeting dates, or you can go on the website and look either way.
Mhm.
But feel free to come back. You're definitely invited, and your EDC is welcome to come join us
Mm-hmm.
and reach out to any of us offline. If you've got questions or thoughts or brainstorms, but
Absolutely. Just one question. Again, being new to the area, I'm up on Pepperell, and I, had worked previously much more on the North Shore, kind of new to the Central. Where is Berlin exactly? So, and it's southwest of Lancaster. You get on 495 and
It's southeast.
Basically, go
southeast.
straight from
Okay,
Clinton
so you
to 495.
Yeah.
So you go down 495 and you go past Marlboro to Berlin?
No, you
or is
don't
it-
have to. We're in the corner of 290 and 495. We're in the northwestern corner of 290 and 495.
Okay, got it. All right.
Right. So we're one town. I mean, if I had to go to Kimball's, which is in Lancaster,
Mhm.
have you been to Kimball's?
Oh, yes. So that's another
So-
little.
Yeah.
who hasn't been to Kimball's, Paul?
Yeah. Well, you
All right,
never know.
Did you know? Have you been there yet this year? I went there on opening day to look at their, it might be nice to get a clam plate or a scallop roll or something.
Yeah.
Prices were astronomical. I couldn't believe it, but I guess that's
But-
the price
but-
of seafood.
But the
What's worse,
service
the prices or the line?
Yeah.
What's
but-
that?
What, Peter?
What is worse, the prices or the line?
Well, I mean, the line, I would have gladly stood in line. It didn't seem to be too bad. That I think this was like day 1 or day 2. It didn't seem to be too bad. I would have gladly stood in line, but my jaw was on the ground when I saw what it cost I mean, we're talking like $45, $50 for a lunch, entree. I can't
Yeah.
remember.
They
It was
definitely
like
print money.
Or the scallop roll or the clam or whatever it was, but they were all around $45, $50.
Individually, each one? Wow.
Yeah.
I only go
Unless
for
I
ice
was
cream.
reading the menu incorrectly.
Yeah.
I was asking myself, saying, so is this like, I'm not buying bulk, I just want to contemplate. And it was, yeah, it was.
We ran into the GM when we were last there and I asked her some statistics, which I've forgotten, but some extraordinary amount of ice cream sold, scoops,
Mhm.
meals, tens of
huge amount,
thousands,
yeah.
extraordinary
Yeah.
numbers.
Well, I would gladly, I've been there for ice cream, and I'd gladly go back. Someone was just telling me yesterday about the benefits of having like an event there. It's a nice place to go
Yeah.
if you want to hold a staff retreat or some type of event or something. But
Right.
I'm not planning
The
on
one-
going back there anytime soon for lunch. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah, Brian, the one in Westford in particular they do lots and lots of events
Yeah,
because they
yeah.
kind of drive it. You may know that one, right? They've got
Yes,
bumper boat,
I've taken
all
my
that.
nephews there. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I won't keep you too long, but when I was in Methuen, we had an IT consultant who actually was a Kimball, one of the Kimballs, and he explained, because I knew there's a few different Kimballs around, and even here in Pepperell, if you go up to the Hollis line, they have the Kimball Fruit Farm. It's just it's a farm stand basically. And as it turns out, yeah, that's in the same family, and they were
Oh,
different
interesting. I didn't know
cousins. And the family is spread apart, and they some have the Carlisle, and some other cousins own the one in Lancaster, and so it was an interesting, but it's all the same family.
that. That is doing very well.
Yes, yeah, and okay, so I'll be in touch. I'm glad.
Please-
Thank you,
please
Jeff,
come
for
back.
inviting me on.
Brian, I'll actually I'll connect you with Tim Wheeler, who's the head of our CPA committee too. So he'd
Okay.
probably better to answer questions about that.
Or perhaps you can join the CPA meeting.
Yeah.
That too.
I don't know if it's in person or Zoom, but certainly if it's Zoom, it'll be easy.
Have you completed your funding round this year already, or
I'm not sure I understand the question.
the grant? Usually the CPA committee takes applications starting in the fall, and they do it, and then they give out, make the awards like sometime in the spring, and then
They have not consumed the entire balance, but they've got active applications and they're processing.
Okay, so they're
It's a pretty robust committee. I think they're
good.
pretty thorough and
Yeah.
handling it well.
Yeah, I think more than half the state has CPA now. I might be wrong on that, but I think it's quite a beneficial thing once you get past the imposition of another tax,
Yeah, that took a little work, but Peter, the other thing that we could do, Tim may have the examples or maybe it's on their website, all the various benefits that they've already gotten the town, like we preserved 100+ acres last year with the grant and the CPA money. It was great. They did a lot
Do
of good
you
stuff.
also have an affordable housing trust in Berlin? Or do you have affordable housing?
I don't know. We have affordable housing, right? We meet our 10%.
You are at your 10%? Okay.
We are at our 10%.
Oh, that's good. Congratulations.
We're well over it, actually.
Yeah, we
Oh.
are. For the moment, at least.
Yeah, right. Until yeah.
Are
Okay.
you
Well,
familiar with the River Bridge Apartments?
Right.
Are you familiar with that, Brian?
no, I'm not.
It's a complex of 200 odd units, 200 rental units, and some of them are affordable, and that's what got us over.
Sure. Okay. Well, that's a nice accomplishment. Our affordable housing trust is, we're not hoping to get out of 10% anytime soon, but it is a goal.
Right.
That would be a good use for the Atlantic Union buildings or some of them.
Yeah. But it's still privately owned, and
Yeah.
no one has offered them a price that they're willing to talk about. But we're hoping that something will break there at some point.
Good.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Stay in touch with Jeff, would you please?
Sure. Yes, I will. Sure.
Thanks very much, Brian.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Good night.
All righty. Some ministerial things and an update on the sign. Did anybody look at the minutes and or the updated minutes that Corinne was nice enough to review carefully?
Oh, I didn't see Corinne's updated minutes. Ooh, I didn't know that. Ooh.
Yeah, she made us look,
Mostly
she made us look
grammatical
bad.
She made us look bad.
Just grammar. That's it, nothing.
And we're elevating her to doctor since you're both doctors, Paul and Corinne. And
Oh,
then,
Corinne's a doctor?
yeah, she's
I'm a PhD, so I don't know. It's
Yeah,
argued
well,
you can't call me a doctor, but
so you're a real doctor. Just like I am. We're not just human body mechanics.
Right.
It's only fair if you're going to be Dr. Anderson. She should be.
No, I
Dr.
completely agree. I think that's great. Why didn't I see Corinne's stuff?
I emailed it in the last 2 hours.
Oh, well, that's why.
and I just emailed one too, the second one, but it's pretty minor updates.
Okay.
And I'm having AC issues, so I'm dressed for summer. I apologize. I'm not professional, and I've been on the computer all day.
I thought that got fixed the other day.
Not.
So your April 1 changes are fine as far as I'm concerned? And you just ordered, where's the the April 1? I got the April ones. Which other ones? I need.
There was a
February.
February, which I
Right.
think Peter sent out.
I have to find these. I'm looking. I've got 2 versions of there's the February ones. Okay.
I mean, they look fine to me, and I only read your updated ones. I forgot to look at them yesterday, and when I saw the email come through, that's when I looked at them.
I'm good with the changes. The February minutes are fine too. You just
All right, I'll make a motion to adopt the changes and adopt the minutes that were sent around.
I second the motion.
All in favor? Any discussion? Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? I guess it carries. All right, so I guess those 2 sets of minutes out of the way. Berlin General Store sign update. Ed is so busy, if he wanted to do it, which he used to want to do it, he doesn't have time. But he seems to have had a change of heart. He has not said that he doesn't want to put the sign up, but he is not very encouraging any longer. And plus, he's so busy.
He's no longer what, Peter? So he's not encouraging.
Well, he was committed to it a few months ago. In the last couple of months, he had a change of heart. Besides which, he's so busy, I can't even get him to the meeting. I actually reminded him about our meeting tonight, and he's not here. He's very busy. He's running that store, and it's running him
Having trouble finding help.
for
So
sure.
if anyone knows a cook that needs work.
Right. So do you remember he had a huge sign on the side of the building for a little while?
The lobster sign.
Not the lobster sign, it was like it covered the entire face of the building, side of the building. It was up for 2, 3, 4 weeks. Anyways, it made a lot of sense. It said, whatever marketing words they might say, maybe it said sandwiches, drinks, come on in, or something like that. It was something that was pretty appropriate. Somebody complained, and he has to take it down, and he did take it down, and he's got to deal with the building commissioner and figure out if he can put it back up. So that's the update. Our sign is on hold. Minutes are taken care of. That's all I've got. Corinne, you're up.
Okay, so the porta potty, there's not enough interest, so I'm dropping that. Not surprising, but I looked into it, and the only logical place would be the church property, somewhere on their property. They declined, and other places around town, they have indoor bathrooms when they're open, so it's so that's a non-starter. The second thing was the 5K. So I looked into it a lot. I was almost ready to trigger it. And I decided that this year is not the year to do it. I think there's just not enough support from the community to do it. And we don't want to put this on and spend a bunch of money doing it and have it not be successful. So I'm going to table that. I might revisit it next year, but we'll see.
So Corinne, when you say there wasn't support from the community, what were we not getting that you would have liked to have seen more of?
I think mainly, well, there's two things. One, I approached the local running club, which incorporates all the Marlborough, Hudson, Berlin,
Okay.
Clinton, and Northborough. So, and I said, you know, if they asked if they would help support this, and
Okay.
I would run it. They said, well, it's a great idea, but our calendar is filled for this year.
Ah, okay.
What that means is what they select a bunch of races for the year and then that encourages a lot of people to attend the race.
Gotcha.
So they'd already done that. And so I didn't fit into this year. So at least I'm on their radar. So maybe next year we have an option. We have a better chance of getting on their
And
calendar.
what's the timing for approaching them? Because I thought a 5K was a great idea, and it sounded like Berlin Orchards was really happy to do it and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
what do we-
yeah, they're happy to do it.
on-
Yeah. And so I'm in touch with the running
Okay.
club, and I'm going to revisit it like super early this year. So I came into
Okay.
this a little bit late last year, which is part of the
Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing too is I kind of felt like the recreation committee should have some, I don't know, buy-in, like
Right.
just acknowledge it. They could really help with marketing the idea, but they're not interested. And
Oh, really?
I kind of feel like if the town's recreation committee is not interested, then maybe we shouldn't be pursuing it. Oh, I don't know.
Interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
They were
Also, the insurance
unresponsive,
would
right?
probably run through them.
Sorry, say again. You guys are overlapping. Jeff?
So at least when they did, when they helped with home day, the insurance ran through them because they were a funded town committee that had insurance carriage already.
Yeah.
So if they're not interested, that would make it very difficult.
Yeah.
To do
They
through
were
a town.
unresponsive, if I remember.
Unresponsive, yeah. I tried
Just-
multiple times and so yeah, they didn't respond. So I don't know if that means they're not checking their email or if they're not interested, but they certainly had opportunity if they are interested. I did look into ways around it. I got a membership at the Running Club of America where under their umbrella you can be a nonprofit and you can pay for insurance very cheap to cover the event. So I learned a lot this year. And I definitely think I could hit the ground running next year if we decide we want to do it. I just kind of feel like I'd like a little more buy-in before I do a lot of this and potentially, like I said, have it not be successful. So
Right. No, I agree. I understand.
you don't
I
want
would
all the
say-
sponsors, you know, providing money and then not have a lot of runners show up. That wouldn't be.
That's right. I totally hear you. Should we, the rest of us, have done more to help you? I mean, or did you feel like, you know, you had enough from us right now, then you reached out and these other people were, I mean, if several of us had called, I mean, I don't know anybody on the recreational committee. I've heard some interesting stories about some of them though. I don't know them personally, but you know, would it have been helpful if more of us gave them a ring or whatever? I don't know.
I
Yeah.
think that if Corinne is unable to reach them as Corinne, that says volumes. It's kind of upsetting that they didn't respond to her.
Corinne, when you see this up for next year, let me know, and I may have some connections with rec.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I
And
know at
so,
least one person on the committee too.
what, Jeff?
I know at least one person on the committee too.
So not knowing all the timing, but it seems to me like we should be reaching out before Corinne reaches out to the local running club. We want to make sure we've got the local support, right? I mean, we don't want to get on their calendar and the recreational committee still isn't responding to you. That would not be a good situation. So, you know, do we start laying the groundwork? I don't know what the timing is for the local running club calendar, but you start laying the groundwork with the rec committee this September, October, and see, you know, if they're not going to help us, then there's no point in getting on the calendar for the local running club.
So what
Right.
I'll do is I'll ask the running club when do they need to hear from me? When do they start planning their next year's calendar?
Super.
and
I think
keep
it's
me in
great.
mind, which said they would. And then let's go from there.
Okay,
Give yourself enough time and so that you don't have to rush.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I froze up there, so I didn't hear the end of what Paul was sharing there. But I can start talking to some of the rec folks, especially as the fall soccer season starts and stuff like that, and see what I'll work on that part.
Okay, great. Yeah.
We shouldn't have to plead with our own rec committee, though.
No, it will be fine. I think I'll talk to the people I know.
Okay. All right, thanks for that, Corinne. And one last thing.
The EV chargers. Let's see.
Yes.
Okay.
Corinne's done a great job. You'll see now.
yeah.
Okay. Are you seeing everything on my screen? The
Yep,
PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yeah.
and we'll attach this to the minutes, so I don't have to write them all down.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I will save a PDF and send it out. So, or you can. Can you see it? So you can see the slides?
Yep.
I'm not sure if I'm in the right mode here. Okay, so status update. So we had the engineers come. They did the location or the site visit, and the location was approved. They gave us a quote for 2 ChargePoint, which is the brand of. There's a few brands out there, but ChargePoint is one of them, for a DC fast charger, which is equivalent to Tesla supercharger units. So this includes installation, 5 years of cloud network plan, a warranty, activation, commissioning fees, signage, bollards, and shipping costs. We got the award information from Engrid, which Voltrek will apply for us, and it will be awarded to the town of Berlin. So I sent this to the EDC and the planning board. The planning board said they're fine with it. They're already on board. So the next step would be for us to go to the select board if the EDC thinks that we should go to the next steps.
Let me just interject one thing. I contacted the planning board to see if they wanted us back, and they said, no, we're good to go.
Yeah, that's
Straight
right.
to the select board. Go ahead.
Okay, so just to get us everybody up to speed, a DC fast charger. Here's just a quick glance at a few things compared to a slow charger, the level 2, which I don't think anybody's installing anymore anywhere. But let me know if you have any questions. I have showed this to you before.
Yeah,
It's basically like around 30 to 45 minutes for a full charge for most vehicles. So the location would be,
We're still on
On-
page 1.
oh, really? Okay. it's
yeah,
not
we
just-
haven't moved. Yeah, we're still on page 1 for some reason.
All right, now can you see it?
All right, now we see page 2.
Yeah, 2.
Bring us back to 2.
2.
I was just
Alright.
comparing the different levels. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me know. I didn't know you couldn't see it. I can see it on my end.
Yep.
Any
Uh,
questions about page 2, that yellow column?
No.
So the location is First Parish Church. Well, it's not their property, it's actually the town property.
Sure.
And this shows, the equipment that'll go in there. I assume you had a look at it earlier, but if not, you've got the slides, you can look more closely. All right, so here's a breakdown of the costs. The cost for everything I said, including the 5 years of warranty and cloud network plan and everything. The installation services, there's the electrical labor and materials cost, which they will do with certified electrical engineers. The only thing I've marked in red here that there's some wiggle room on is the excavation, which if Voltrek contractors do, then the cost is $28,000. We could possibly bring that down if the DPW does the work. So I just marked that to come back to. So the total cost, according to their quote, if we use all of their contractors, is around $152,000. And the award from Engrid, the total award would be $140,000. So that means the net cost to the town, if we use all Voltrek contractors, would be 12,515. But if the town can do some of that up to about 15,000, then we could bring that down to close to zero out of net cost to town.
Right.
Any questions on this page?
So the key is negotiating with Fred. If we can get Fred to do it, it'll cost little or none. And we will have a $0 net cost. With one exception, which Corinne will touch on in a second.
So here's just an outline of the scope of the work, what is included, and then a couple exclusions. There's some landscape restoration, which is going to be pretty minimal. I mean, it's just grass. Pavement restoration there's no sidewalk there, so there shouldn't be any pavement restoration required. And then just utility side costs, which I'm trying to get a little bit more detail on what that is exactly. But we don't expect much from that.
So that the red herring is that last line, utility side costs.
Yeah, and yeah, I didn't quite have that information back before this meeting, but we decided not to delay the meeting any further, just to, go ahead with what we have so far. So the next steps, based on what we have, would be if the EDC recommends approval, to take it to the select board. Select board has to approve it. Then we would designate a charge point administrator, which Peter recommends would be Dee Green. She would create a charge point account, and then we decide on what we want to charge for the electricity. And just for reference, the supercharger, the Tesla supercharger is, they charge 39 cents per kilowatt hour. So just to give us some idea what we want to go on. And we would also want to look at what we are paying for our own electricity. So make sure that we're making some profit. And so this plan is for 5 years. So we don't have to worry about any of the costs for any of this for 5 years. I do want to find out what the cost might be when that 5 years is up. We would probably buy a new plan, but
Does that price, is that locked in, or is that something that could be changed as we go depending on demand?
No, yeah, definitely. The administrator can change it every day if she wants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will this work on a Tesla? Will this charge point gizmo work on a Tesla?
Yeah, there's just adapters. So whatever your car has, you have an adapter that works with it. And I think the charge point comes with 3 different adapters for whatever is currently available out there.
Is this just for one station or is it 2?
This is for 2.
It is 2. Yeah.
2 units in one spot. So can you any of you think of obstacles or hurdles that the select board might throw our way when we present it? Missing information?
I think Liz hit on the bottom. I'm sorry, not Liz. Corinne hit on the bottom, right? The last line, need to understand what that, I guess you hit on the 2 obstacles I can see them asking you about. What's on that? What does that mean, that last line, and that we didn't know about? And what happens when the 5 years runs out?
What's that going to cost then? Yeah.
Does it cost anything other than that? I just don't,
Yeah.
They can ask all sorts of things, but it seems like it's pretty straightforward. And compared to what we just voted on last Monday, pennies. It's 2 days of special needs education in this town. We can afford it.
Well, if we get lucky, it'll cost the town nothing.
Nothing. That's exactly right. Even if we're not lucky and it costs us 12,000 and change, like I said, that's 2 days of less than 2 days of time of education budget.
So Corinne, I think you need to grill them about not only the last line, but the possible, what's the right word? The possibilities after 5 years. Repairs, maintenance, if there's a charge to manage it.
Yep.
For the.
And I think, for whatever profit is made on the electricity in the 5 years could be put into a fund towards future costs. I mean, rather than be taken off somewhere else for special needs education. I don't know. Keep it as a fund for once the 5 years runs out, I don't know.
Yeah.
spitballing.
I think Corinne did a great job.
Thank
And it's promising. It's promising.
Yeah, very much so.
I mean, and the one thing to consider too is that, you know, that before this NGRID grant, there was the Mass EV Incentive Program grant, and that got taken up. Like it disappeared very, very quickly. Everybody snapped it up and it was no longer available. The window closed. So that was part of what caused a lot of the delay. I know the Energy Committee was looking into this. When I first started looking into it, it was there were no grant opportunities because when they're available, everybody wants them. They take them.
Right.
And we don't know how long those grants are going to be available. So that was, you know, we don't want to delay on making the decision one way or another. That's all.
Did the Energy Committee not respond to you as well?
Oh, I haven't updated them recently.
But didn't you try to reach them and enter some trouble?
That was a while ago, a few iterations ago. So I haven't recently been. So my bad. I should have included them.
Well, if no one has anything further to discuss regarding this, somebody make a motion to advance this to the select board. No one
I
wants to
motion
make
it.
a motion?
Yeah, I'll let someone else do it. So, but I'm happy to do it.
Go for it, Paul.
All right, I move to advance this proposal to the select board to see if they will approve it.
I second it. Any further discussion? I think we've had a lot. Anything further? Any questions? Jason, don't talk too much. All right, hearing no more comments, let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries by unanimous consent. Good job, Corinne. Paul, you're on the hot seat now.
Yeah, no, I have nothing to report on them. I started looking at the website. I'll have to reach her out to her you can't get her through the website. You get all sorts of videos of kids and things, but not actually a way to send an email or anything like that. So I'll have to call. And it's thanks, Peter, for getting this. So Carol de Oliveira is the person who's in charge of the whole
Yes,
foundation, or is she in charge of this project?
this project, but you should also have, and what I sent you, her mobile number and her email
Yeah, I
address.
do. I have those, so I'll reach out to her. I haven't done that.
I've invited her several times as
And she
recently
has-
as 6 months ago without
Okay.
success. So it's
Okay.
going to require some skill I don't have.
All right, I'll reach out to her. I'll do that.
All right. Jason, do you have any interest in approaching another EDC from an abutting town like Clinton, for example?
Yeah, if you would like me to. What are we hoping to accomplish by reaching out to them?
Share ideas
Okay.
like you did with Brian.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Clinton.
Or it could be Boylston, Northborough,
Yeah, I'll go to
whichever.
their website. I'll go to their website and see what's out there.
That'd be good. Anything else anybody wants to share or ask or say? Well, that puts a wrap on it. Let's pick a date. September work for people?
Sure.
Sure thing.
September. How about the week of the 9th or the 16th of September or the 23rd?
I'm fine for any of those.
Jason, you have a crazy schedule sometimes.
Yeah, I don't usually look that too far ahead. So the week of the 9th is clear right now. So
How about the Wednesday? How about a Wednesday? Does that work, Paul, for you?
Wednesday is September 11th.
Or
That's-
the 18th or the 25th?
Yeah, I'm looking, the 11th should be okay. That's fine.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm around.
At the moment, it's fine for me. Soccer will have started by then, so who knows? But
Right?
That's
Well,
true.
uh, So 9/11, 6 p.m. Wednesday.
Works,
There you go,
works for
9/11.
me right now.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
That sounds ominous. Maybe we should change it.
How about
We don't-
9/18?
we don't do-
9/18.
9/18.
Is that good?
I can do 9/18 as well.
Jason, you good?
Sure.
All right. All right, so 9/18, 6 o'clock it is. I move to adjourn the meeting. Second,
I'll second that.
all in
right.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Too bad.